Yeah, let's go, baby. Let's go. We're gonna talk about how to get yourself together. Somebody should type "get it together" in the chat. Get it, get it, get it, get it together. Get it together, get it together. Yo, mm, make sure we live on the platform this live on. Alright, let me know if you can hear me. I gotta stop my music because 'cause I'm just gonna be vibing all day. Like, oh, oh, can y'all hear the music? Because it's vibing. Oh, you can't, you missing it. Oh, that probably looks stupid. Oh, alright, let's get it. Talking about how to get yourself together, okay? How to get yourself together. And what I mean by this is, you know, there's something that happens when you are consistently investing in yourself, pouring into other people, um, coaching other people, uh, connecting other people, doing all the stuff that great leaders do, is that you evolve, you grow, and you don't realize your own evolution. I was thinking about, all these times where I went on these health kicks and I wanted to become healthier, lose weight, gain weight, get six pack, kind of, or whatever I was trying to do to get in shape. And I would start those workouts and I would look in the mirror and nothing would really change. And I would be consistent and then more consistent and then more consistent and then more consistent. And eventually something will have changed. I'm getting worried that somebody can't hear me because now I need to see somebody talk to you, boy. Let me go to Instagram because Instagram always be popping. What's up? Can you hear me on Instagram? Okay, cool. Thank you. We can hear me on Instagram. That's what I'm talking about. So as we're putting in this action and we're consistently growing as leaders and pouring out, there's this progress that's happening. And I was talking about working out and going in on, these health kicks where I'm consistent in trying to lose weight or gain weight, get more fit. And I start and I look in the mirror and I don't see improvement. And then I just get in the zone because I know that if I put in the results or put in the work consistently, I'll get to experience the results. And so I'll start to put in the work consistently. And then I just put my head down. I stop looking in the mirror. I stop looking over my shoulder. And I just know that my input is going to equal that output. And so what happens is that at some point, okay, which is really my first point. Okay, here's my crowd. Come on, holla at your boy. What's up, Britt? What's up? My 25 person audience. What's up? Holla at your boy. Let me know. Can you hear me? Okay. I know you can hear me because somebody already told me that. Let me stay focused because I'm getting into my first point, which is really about number one, which is I'm going to talk about three ways to get yourself together. And it's important that if you have a lot going on, that you take a step back and look at all the work that you put in, all the growth that you've accumulated, all the conferences that you've been at, all the things that you've done, and that you start to see like, oh, snaps, here's what were some of the key points of my growth. And I'm gonna get into that in a second because it would be a shame, not a shame. I need a better word because I don't like to project shame in the world. It would be disappointing. It would be a bad idea. It would be financially irresponsible. It would be humanly irresponsible to put in all that growth, to put in so much consistency, to serve every single day, to pour out every single day, and never really take a big enough step back to see what was at the crux of your growth, the catalyst at your potential, and how do you, nurture the seed and water the seed and turn your insights into perpetual income and turn your quantum leaps into continual leaps. That's what I want to talk to you about today. And so maybe I should rebrand this. Is how to turn your occasional leaps into quantum leaps, if you shall. But what I have prepared to talk about is 3 ways to get yourself together. And I mean that in the most positive way, because when you get yourself together, because of all the growth you've done, when you do a lot of when you work out, there's a bit, all the weights is moving, the bars are over here, the plates are over here, there's sweat dripping, there's towels on the floor, there's yoga mats. Like, there's a lot of mess that accumulates when you are taking consistent action. And so part of how you get yourself together at the end of that workout is you reset the room. You go, oh man. And don't you, as you reset the room and you go back and you look at where the yoga mat was, you remember that part of the workout where you was getting ready to tap out because they was doing the second little ab crunch, and you remember the experience and you anchor it and integrate it. Okay. And so that's what I mean by getting yourself together. It is anchoring and integrating the hard work of your experience. And I'm talking through the lens of speaking, communication, coaching, leadership. So let me get into my points, okay? Because I got 3 for you. Number 1, okay. The first step to get yourself together: take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Okay, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. In the coaching process, we call this slowing it down to, like I say all the time, 0.5 speed. And what I'm referring to is, like, if you watch a video on 1x speed, 2x speed, that sometimes, you're trying to rush through and you're just trying to get information. You're not actually dissecting what's at the core of what's happening. But if you slow it down to 0.5 and not speed it up to 2x, you get to see in slow motion. And so, we tend to live our lives on 1 speed if you woosah, on 2x speed if you move fast, on 3x speed if you move faster, on 4x speed if you want to move the fastest, on 5x speed if you want to move faster than the fastest, on 6x speed if you want to move faster than the fastest. I don't know why we're so obsessed in America primarily with pace. I'm faster, 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 I'm bigger, I'm bigger. My 10 mil, 1 mil, 1x, 10x, 3x, 100x, 500x, 700x, 800x. People just always trying to, hey, a bunch of X. What's up, Suzanne? So when you're just putting in all this consistent growth and you're not taking a step back, like, you really don't see what's at the core of your evolution, and I really learned this from sports, is that, we would play games, run with our full effort, and then in order to improve our performance, we would watch the film. And sometimes when we were trying to see, like, man, how did I lose that play to that guy? Man, how did I miss that? How did I make that mistake as a leader on our team when I know better? To, like, what was going on? And the game was moving too fast when we were playing, but when we're watching the film, we can slow it down to 0.5 speed. And so the first step, if you've been moving a lot, grooving a lot, pouring a lot, doing a lot, helping a lot, and you haven't been processing a lot, is you have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture so that you can see what's really at some core of some things you may be missing. And, one of the things that, most recently for me, that was I'm trying to think of which one I want to share. Looking at my notes. That's fine. I can share. I can share this one. Me and my wife recently went on this ultimate couples retreat, is the name of it. And we really were just investing in our marriage and taking some time and some space, and yeah, we had some, like, work stuff that we wanted to get through, but we were really trying to, for the most part, leave that at home, because we, for the first time in our marriage, really, were getting away from our um, kids for that long of a time, which was scary on one end, but also just like, yo, let's like do this. And so, in a lot of ways, we had the time to take a step back. Okay, and when we were point 0.5 speeding our life, reflecting on just a lot of the stuff that's in the conversations that her and I are in every single day about our business. Um, what in day-to-day life, moving fast, taking care of a family, serving clients, running events, seemed like we were kind of rubbing a lot. Like, man, let's just not go there because we're rubbing. Like, nope, nope. Let's talk about other stuff. Nope, no, no. Now that we had a chance to, you know, take a step back and see the bigger picture of all the conversation we've been having, of all the people we've been pouring into, of all the things that were meaningful for us in that process, or learning, or painful for us in that process. We realized, as we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, that we were really saying the same thing. So the rub was like, why are we rubbing instead of ruling? You hear what I'm saying? RULING. There's people that you rub with that you should be ruling with. I should say reigning with, is that's the better word. Reigning, because ruling sounds like we got to rule over people. But reigning is like we're stewarding territory. So let's go that. If you want to stop rubbing and start reigning, you got to take a step back and you got to look at the bigger picture. That applies to, marriage, that applies to business, that applies to team, that applies to, any relational dynamic, any personal relationship dynamic, any spiritual relational dynamic, any, physical relational dynamic, is that we got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. And so before I move to point 2, I'm going to tell you this last story. And this was something that I learned in sports and looking at, studying, championship culture. And you would see that there's certain teams or certain, dynasties that win over and over and over and over again. And then there's certain, teams that will win a championship every once in a while. And one of the core things that I found when I was doing a lot of that research, that was the difference between the ones who consistently had a championship culture. Like they were always winning the championship, contending for the championship, top 3, final 4, like always in the top, like upper echelon, always in the top 10%, never below. But then there was the people that they win sometimes, they on the chart sometimes, and then they like at the bottom sometimes in some years, and maybe, and then they go through these dry spells. Like the one of the major differences between the consistent winning culture and the occasional sporadic winning culture was that the consistent winning culture was slowing down, watching the film, and getting to the core of what was working so that they can repeat the success. They found out what was making the success sausage and they hit repeat on it. And they didn't get comfortable to think that they could stop that dissection process. And so what happens is that we start getting, oh, I already know what to do. I'll just execute. And we don't stop, pause, take a step back, slow it down to 0.5 speed, and really get to some deeper level work. But this is an invitation to some deeper level work. So if you want to get yourself together because you've been going a lot, moving a lot, pouring a lot, step 1 is you got to take a step back and you got to look at the bigger picture. Okay. Now that brings me to step 2. As you do that, and I've kind of alluded to this a bit, you have to harvest your greatness. Harvest your greatness. This is the best way I know how to get this point across. As leaders, when you're moving a lot, you're often not processing a lot. When you're moving a lot, you're also often not processing often. You're usually just deciding, moving, solving, selling, putting out a fire, putting out a fire, putting out a fire, putting out a fire, putting out a fire. I'm gonna call you a firefighter. Okay. And There's a lot of genius in that. It's like you ever look at somebody that get a lot of stuff done and be like, dang, how you do all of that? How you get all of that done? How you finish all of that? How did you do that? How did you do that? And really, if you really ask them, they're gonna be like, I don't know. Or okay. Here's what they're gonna do. The real good ones, like the real high level leaders. Okay. I'm talking about the ones that's running already successful coaches, already successful speakers. Okay. Okay. And when you ask them how they do it, here's what they're gonna tell you. You ready? You ready? They're gonna go. They're going to talk for a long time. And and the reason why is because it's hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle. The reason why is because when you're great at what you do, it's hard to explain what you do. The reason why is because sometimes you get so good at it that you develop unconscious competence at it, and you don't even know how to explain it anymore. That you just like, I don't know. I think it's this. I think it's that. I think it's this. I think it's that. I think I can do it here. I can do it here. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to eat. And you haven't harvested your greatness. So even if you've, accomplished step one, which most leaders don't, which is take a step back and look at the bigger picture and slow it down to that 0.5 speed. If you're doing that, then most people aren't actually having a depth of reflection so that they can harness or harvest their greatness, so that you can see what's at the core of the greatness. It's that principle I was telling you about, that the consistent championship teams, that they're looking at how are we making the sausage? What is it that's causing our edge in this season of life and of business? And so if I can just see how I'm ticking, how I'm solving, how I'm doing it, how I'm deciding, how I'm being me at my highest level, I can repeat me at my highest level. And maybe we can understand that through this AI construct, because we get the product or the opportunity we have, I guess, to duplicate ourselves, if you want to do that. And we understand that we can tell it to think a certain way and do a certain thing and have a certain set of values and hold itself to a certain level of standards. And we can make that our sensor, our master, operating systems in our large language models. And then it can essentially duplicate an essence of us. Well, let me ask you, what essence of you are you duplicating? Like, what essence of you are you duplicating? And if you've been moving and grooving and jucking and driving and and pouring out and pouring in and connecting and leveling up and serving like great leaders are called to do, then and maybe you've slowed down. You probably haven't. It's time for you to actually have a depth where you can actually harvest that greatness. And I know you're great at doing it for other people, but God has to humble you so that you can allow other people to do it for you. And dude, I had one of them humble pills. I'm like, I know brand, I know messaging, I know architecture, I know speaking, I know stages, I got connections. La la la, and I was doing that, and I was talking to one of my friends, Roy, from Brand Builders, and just was like, man, I'm struggling. I got a lot going on, man. Frustrated about this, this, happy about a lot, doing a lot. I know what I'm doing. Sometimes talking fast is the language of avoiding what happens when you talk slower. And I slowed down and I was like, man, what am I not saying? And I was like, man, I really just want to do this. I really just want to do this. It's like, oh, let's do that. That makes way more sense. I was slowing down enough, but I didn't harvest my own greatness. I didn't see until I slowed down. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm destined to do. This is that minor tweak I needed that makes a major difference in my life. This was that thing that I couldn't read inside of my own bottle. I wanted to do it alone, be it alone. I wanted to try to have AI answer it for me or embody a bunch of other coaches and books to get it from me, but I wasn't harvesting my own greatness. I wasn't seeing what I needed to see in me. So number one, I got to take a step back and I got to see the bigger picture. Number two, I got to harvest my greatness. I got to harvest my greatness. I got to see what's at the core of what's working. I got to hit duplicate. I got to have people that's outside of my bottle, read my bottle, question my bottle, play, argue the opposite narrative so I can have a more holistic perspective. And then number three, I have to powerfully serve the world. Powerfully serve the world. So if you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture, if you harvest your greatness, then you can powerfully serve the world. What I mean by that is not to be poetic and end it like that. Actually, I have a different point. I'm going to give you one more. But what I mean by powerfully serve the world is that sometimes in trying to help people, y'all, we miss out on some of the most helpful ways to help people. I'll give you an example in my marriage. Like sometimes, what's up, Suzanne? It's good to see you. What's up, Mr. Fred? What's up, Jenny Ray? I'm sorry, y'all been going. What's up, Mark Hayes? What's up, Adele? Sometimes, in our intention to serve the world, we miss out on the best ways to serve the world. And in my relationship with my wife, sometimes I'm like doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm picking up the dishes, and I'm like, taking care of the kids, and I'm like, saying nice things and giving her like this little kiss, and I'm like doing all these things, and then, I realized that after I take a step back, after I look at what's working, I'm like, oh man, there's a more intentional way to serve in this marriage that isn't just going through the motions. It's like actually meeting the needs. And sometimes, hold up, what I notice is I could be doing all the right things and missing some of the right things. You know what I mean? Like I could be doing all the right things and missing some of the right things. And I only know that when I'm had time to take a step back and had time to look at what's working and had time to be like, now that I know what's working, here's how I make it work more intentionally. And so that's what I mean by powerfully serve the world. Not that you're not powerfully serving, but that there's levels to your service. And in order to powerfully serve at the next level, it takes intentionality. It takes a strategy. And I don't mean to be locked in and rigid, but I mean to be as focused and intentional as you can be. I don't feel like how do I say this? If you could help more people by being more strategic, why wouldn't you do it? I think that's a better way to phrase what I'm trying to get to you. And that's what I mean by powerfully serving the world. But you have to take a step back and you have to sort of look at the core of what's working so that then you can put it together and make it work more intentionally. And so that for me is our 3 points of how we can get, ourselves together so that we can more powerfully serve the world. And the good news is that, if you're looking for community and a space to do this, I want to invite you out to our Extracting Genius retreat that we're hosting June 4th through 7th, where we're spending 3 days out in Greater Nashville, Tennessee, with me, my wife, one of our bureau partners, and we're extracting the core of your genius, which is everything that you've evolved into. So if you've been pouring out, pouring in, connecting and speaking, podcasting, coaching, consulting, and you're like, man, I know I got a deeper message. I know there's a way to tie some of these multiple messages together that I've been given in different places. And oh gosh, I can come into an environment with y'all, get it off my chest, flip chart it, rep it, speak it out, get a couple other people some feedback, eat some good healthy food, stay in a nice vibe setting, not be in a rush, not be in an angst, not be trying to perform. And you're gonna connect me to a bureau, and you're gonna teach me that regardless of the bureau, how to do it, and you're gonna I don't know, have a lot of stuff in the margin. And if I'm one of the 3 people that's in, the bigger package, then we're gonna do an on-site podcast. So man, anyways, if you want to do that, type genius in the chat so that you can apply. It'll be 8 people only. We already have 2 of the spaces taken immediately from the first 2 people I asked. And the first 2 people that heard about it, really. And I did a post about it, but y'all know how the algorithm is. And so now I'm talking about it, and I want to hear the conversations, because this is a curated room. Since I'm introducing you to a bureau directly, I want to make sure that it's not just anybody, that you're not just being weird, just being weird. So you don't have to be, crushing, doing 40K a stage yet. If you are, that's fine. There's room for you, of course. And if you're just starting out, that's cool too. There's going to be people there, here and there. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that's been doing this. There's some people that's like trying to figure out if they're going to be doing this. Either way, I can help you. So we want to help design your highest position message. Make sure that your traffic flow in your ecosystem that goes with that is nice and smooth, so that you're not underutilizing, under leveraging, underserving your influence. And then we're going to connect you with community and bureaus and stuff that can show you where the market opportunity is and support you to get your message out to the market. We run this once a year. We ran our first one last year. And if you type genius in the chat, I'll make sure that you see the information, the testimonials from last year. And then we running that boy back, the encore, because we too have gone through our own evolution and have extracted our genius so that we can help you to do the same. So type genius in the chat if you want more information about that. 6 spaces available out of 8. And I really know that the right people are going to align in this room. So I cannot wait to serve you. And for the rest of you, if you going to get it together by yourself, make sure you take a step back and look at the bigger picture. You harvest your greatness, which is get to the core and see what's working. And then you are intentional about working it, putting in the calendar in the right places, making the right decisions that you need to make so that you don't carry decisions to tomorrow that can be made today. And if you do that, okay, if you take a step back, look at the bigger picture, if you harvest your own greatness, and if you powerfully serve the world through strategic aligned action, I'm telling you, man, you will have gotten yourself together. All right. So I love you. I love y'all. I hope that's helpful. And I'll see y'all next stream. Peace, 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 peace. What up, Ron? What up, Tracy? What up, Barry? Queens in the building. Queens in the building. Julie from the LinkedIn. I see you. Thank you for tuning in. Okay. Nice, y'all. I'm gonna repost this on my YouTube, okay? And I'd love to know if you're still watching me while I'm like exiting out of stuff, because my browsers are like all open. What's your biggest takeaways from the stream? Okay. All right. Love you. Peace.